Hi! This video was inspired by a video uploaded shortly by cfourcripsy. I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. He was having some audio issues, but that happens to everyone. I should know about that. But okay. That video got me thinking because he mentioned that he was talking about his current RPG campaign, role-playing, immersion with someone, and I don't know if that person. I didn't pay too much attention to that specific part. I kind of like, yeah, I heard the concept and I was like, already my mind was put into motion. But as I understand it, that person wasn't very familiar with role-playing and immersion. So when cfourcripsy communicated how he was never going outside of character, or he wanted his players to stay in character, the person said that that was pretty hardcore. Now, my thoughts are not related to that particular person. That is, this is not related to the person that commented that that was hardcore. Maybe that person is unfamiliar with role-playing, immersion, and all of that. But it got me thinking, could it be that this is a certain angle that certain people that try to keep those that are trying to get into tabletop role-playing games, they are being tricked that role-playing and immersion is hardcore? Could it be that? So I wanted to clarify, to demystify or destroy some misconceptions about role-playing and immersion. If you have seen my actual play video, the link to that will be in the description. You can see it's quite doable. You don't need to be a super genius or something to roleplay. You are just describing your actions. You are obtaining information from the game world through your actions as well. Please check it out. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. So first I thought, what sort of people could be spreading this around, this trickery? There are only two kinds of people. Very dumb people or malicious people. Or maybe it's a little bit of both, right? But this was also inspired by a comment made by Rob Necronomicon and Runwise Gamgee. He's posting his comments under the Quick and Dirty YouTube handle because of his RPG, Quick and Dirty RPG. They mentioned some very interesting things about commercialization. In the case of Runwise, he mentioned that sometimes these people, these superficial, shallow con artist sort of people, they get into tribes. That is, if you go the typical streamer or fake actual play, remember that I have actually also talked about fake actual plays, they get into these tribes, they benefit each other, keeping these misconceptions about roleplay alive, because that way they can sell their stuff. If you suddenly realize that any of those people that are selling tabletop RPGs or that are producing content know nothing about roleplay and immersion, well, people will stop watching their videos, they will stop buying their tabletop RPGs or so-called tabletop RPGs. It's going to be like that. So I think that is very malicious of them, but there are also other individuals that, to be perfectly frank, they are not very intelligent. Shoner mentioned that it's like trying to explain 3D to a 2D person. They are completely separated. Their minds cannot penetrate the 3D. They are trapped in 2D. You cannot explain that. It's not within their grasp. They are, I would say, well, it's very difficult to say, but it's like a self-handicap of sorts. They refuse to think beyond the 2D. They are trapped there, perhaps forever. But it's also related, right? Because if they admit that, then all of their videos are total crap. So there is no other way around it. Roleplay is not hardcore. Roleplay is just that, roleplay. Playing the role of your character. Describing your character's actions. The game master tells you what was discovered, ascertained, etc. And so forth. There is an exchange. I cannot stress this enough. please look at my actual play. You will look at that. You will notice that in many of those videos, that is the tribes type of people, or how would you call them, the pariahs, derelicts, the outcasts, they either don't have actual play videos because they would display their total ignorance of tabletop role-playing games, their inefficacy, their lack of imagination, their lack of intelligence. They don't have videos like that. And they usually do not get along with those that go against them, that is, those that defend the actual concept of roleplay in order to achieve immersion. You achieve immersion. It is something that comes forth after role-playing or during the role-play act, the action of role-playing. For someone who has never experienced immersion, perhaps they think that it's some sort of stupor, like some sort of fascination, like you're hypnotized or something. But no, immersion, you are basically experiencing the game world as if it were real. Just like I can touch my hand or whatever, my chair, you suddenly feel within that fictional world. They cannot conceive that, they cannot imagine that. Once you achieve immersion, it's like a whole new world is revealed to you. And that can only be achieved through roleplay. That's the magic of tabletop role-playing games. Not only are you using a system, not only are you playing a game, you are also living the experience. It is amazing, unlike any other thing. You cannot even experience this through virtual reality. It is a pleasure beyond the senses. It is your senses taken to this fictional reality. It is so exquisite. So, although this video was inspired by cfourcripsy, I once again repeat, it doesn't have to do with the person that you were talking about. Maybe if that person starts to play a tabletop role-playing game, then, this is pretty fun and pretty easy, right? When you actually start to roleplay. But yes, for those of you that perhaps are just getting into the hobby, or you're still trying to find your way through the tabletop RPG environment, and you suddenly start to hear that, roleplay is hardcore, or immersion is hardcore. It's very simple. Please take a look at my RPG tips playlist. Watch my actual play. And when you see someone speaking against roleplay, immersion, all of that, first, take a look at their tribes. What groups are they working for? Are they working for, I don't know, Wizards of the Coast? Or imagine that. Imagine and take a look at their actual plays. Do they actually feel immersed, or are they having like a mother may I conversation, making jokes, laughing? Almost looks like some sort of sitcom or those awful reality shows. They're like, my character kind of looks like that actor. Oh, you dealt a critical hit. Oh no, somebody called the ambulance. In a fantasy role-playing game. That's clownish. It's so clownish and awful. And on the other side, the derelict, the outcast, the pariahs, they never get along with anyone. They have like these followers that look like middle-aged fanatics, like typical that they are moving down the streets covered in like muck and disease, and they are whipping themselves in the hopes of obtaining salvation. They're kind of like that mob. They haven't experienced immersion ever. They do not roleplay, and they have no hope of ever achieving that because they are too mediocre. And of course, the cult leaders, they won't tell them about roleplay or immersion because they don't know anything about that. It would be the end of their channels. So yes, in the case you are getting into the hobby, roleplay is not hardcore. It is not hardcore. Immersion is achieved through roleplay. Immersion is an amazing, wonderful thing. If you don't know how to get into that roleplay, into that immersion, please check out my playlists, the role-playing Knights of the Round Table. My section of channels also has a lot of, there are many channels with tips and advice, actual plays. You know, Rob Necronomicon, I haven't seen you in action, but you seem to grasp the concept of roleplay and immersion, so you are now one of the role-playing Knights of the Round Table. Rise, Sir Rob, here's your sword and your shield, because we don't have money for real swords and shields. It's all about imagination here. So I'm going to put your channel in that section as well. Well, once again, thank you for watching my videos. Let me know your thoughts and comments on this. Do you think that roleplay is actually hardcore? I already know the answer. Of course it is not. It's roleplay. That's it. And also, there are no levels of roleplay. You don't have like low tier roleplay and middle level roleplay and high level. It's just roleplay. And immersion comes forth. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.